House Republicans have been working hard for years now to ensure the integrity of American elections because it is essential to maintain a constitutional republic. We passed the SAVE Act in the last Congress and in this Congress, and the SAVE Act just simply says you have to have proof of citizenship if you're going to register to vote in federal elections, in American elections. What a concept. They want illegals to vote. That's why they opened the border wide for 4 years under Biden and Harris and allowed in all these dangerous people. It was a means to an end. The end is maintaining their own power.
And that was the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, with me here yesterday. The House passed the 32-page President Trump-backed Save America Act in a vote yesterday, 218 to 213. The election integrity bill would require proof of citizenship to register to vote and show ID to cast a ballot. Very practical ideas. It faces an uphill battle, however, in the Senate, where strong Democrat opposition and the filibuster requirement may block it from reaching the 60 votes needed. Joining me now is Wisconsin Congressman Bryan Steil. Congressman, great to see you. Thanks so much for being here. And I know you introduced the MEGA Act, Make Elections Great Again Act. Tell us about it.
There is a lot we need to do to clean up our elections. Two key components of the MEGA Act are what we passed yesterday in the Save America Act, citizenship verification and photo identification. I think now we need to build on that work. I think we need to clean up our voter rolls. I think we should make sure that ballots are in by the end of Election Day. We need paper auditable ballots. The list goes on. It's all included in the comprehensive MEGA Act. But yesterday was a great step forward passing the Save America Act. Two key components, as you just heard the Speaker say. It's about making sure that we know individuals who are voting are U.S. citizens and making sure individuals are showing photo ID when they come to the polls to show that they are who they say they are.
Well, absolutely. I completely agree, as do many, even Democrats. I mean, you know, so unfortunately, Chuck Schumer said it's dead on arrival when it gets to the Senate. So how are you going to do any of that?
Well, ultimately, this is going to be a question as to whether or not the Senate continues with their zombie filibuster. I think a lot of us in the House, conservatives, are frustrated as we send good quality legislation over to the Senate to only watch it get filibustered with no one actually going to the floor and speaking to prevent it. They're simply allowing senators to sit on the sidelines, say they don't have 60 votes, not move forward. It's incredibly frustrating. I think Senator Thune is in a position here to try to drive forward true, substantive, conservative reforms while we control the House, the Senate, and the White House. So will he do it? Well, we're all going to find out. I mean, I think this bill, the Save America Act, is maybe the ultimate test case. It's obvious legislation that we should have in place for the integrity of our election. It's important to conservatives to make sure that we're instating election integrity. The president is supportive of it. The overwhelming majority of senators, I believe, are as well. The question is it going to come to the floor, and are they going to end the zombie filibuster in the Senate? I'm hopeful that we see this get across the line. Well, even Democrats agree. Some Democrats, certainly not leadership like Chuck Schumer, but I spoke with John Fetterman, senator from Pennsylvania, and he said there's nothing wrong with showing ID to vote. Watch this. What I don't understand, Senator, is why it is so difficult to get the SAVE Act into the portfolio and onto the floor. What's wrong with having an ID to vote? Chuck Schumer last week said if the SAVE Act even attempts to get to the Senate, it is dead on arrival. Why?
And now, me as a Democrat, I do not believe that it's unreasonable or to show ID just to vote. So it's not a radical idea for regular Americans to show your ID to vote. And it's absolutely, those things are not Jim Crow or anything. Of course, that's part of an awful, awful legacy of our nation for so long ago.
I mean, is there any other way to view the fact that Democrat leadership refused to have ID to vote? Is there any other way to read it other than they want illegals to vote? I mean, can you read it any other way?
Well, I mean, for me, the SAVE Act is not going to pass because of the filibuster, because they would need at least 7 or 8 Democratic votes to pass that. But I will say this as a Democrat, I do not believe it's radical or extreme to just produce ID to vote overall.
What do you think about that, Congressman?
He is spot on. It's radical that the Democrats don't want to require photo identification when individuals come to vote. I'm often reflect back on a debate that I had here in the House of Representatives about photo identification. I flew home to my home state of Wisconsin, went to buy a six-pack of beer. The clerk recognized me, asked for my ID, confirmed it, and then I was allowed to buy the beer. I just think it's nuts that we protect our beer more than our ballots in jurisdictions across this country. It's commonplace that individuals use photo identification in all aspects of their lives, and it's time we require that in all 50 states.
All right, so let me switch gears. Both John Fetterman in the Senate and the Speaker of the House in the House, Mike Johnson, both told me on this program they expect the Department of Homeland Security to shut down tomorrow. Senate Democrats are vowing to block this stopgap bill funding the department if no deal is reached by midnight. Agencies, including ICE, CBP, the TSA, and FEMA, could be impacted. How severe will this shutdown be? I know it's just 4% of government, but who gets impacted, and are you expecting it as well?
It is so frustrating we're in this position to begin with. The House did our job. We passed this funding bill. The Senate has gummed up the works, but it feels like Groundhog Day to me and so many others. The spending process in Washington is completely broken. We need to rewrite the rules of how we do this. The Senate should, at a minimum, pass a continuing resolution. It is beyond frustrating and unacceptable that Democrats in the United States Senate are willing to hold up funding for important programs from FEMA to TSA to other essential agencies while they fight keeping the border secure. The funding process is broken. The Senate, at a minimum, needs to pass a continuing resolution.
Well, we will watch that. Congressman, a couple times ago when you joined me on this program back in December, you had clear evidence that members of Congress were day trading. I was so struck by that conversation. Since you have introduced legislation to stop that and put rules for the road in terms of what elected officials can do in terms of trading. Where are you on that?
We continue to make progress, had meetings on this again yesterday. I'm of the view that members of Congress should not be able to buy individual shares of stock while they're in service in Congress. I think it's a simple principle. If you want to day trade, go to Wall Street. Come to Washington to lead this country. We continue to build support for my legislation, the Stop Insider Trading Act. We have a commitment from leadership to bring it to the floor, and we continue to work because I'm of the view that we need to bring this to the floor sooner rather than later. And I think when we do, we'll ultimately see it pass, and we can stop even the appearance of impropriety that members of Congress are doing something inappropriate with inside information gained while serving in Congress.
Of course, and it's really the appearance that is troubling. Congressman, it's good to see you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.